Hello, good evening. Welcome to the news on African Free Press Television. My name is Leo Ketan. These are the stories we're tracking for you coming from our news desk. A federal high court in Abuja will on Monday, February 8, 2016, rule on whether to discharge the former National Security Advisor, Colonel Sambo Dasuki, from the criminal charges brought against him by the federal government. Justice Hussein Baba Yusuf fixed the date after counsel to Colonel Dasuki, Mr. Joseph Daudu, and counsel to the federal government, Mr. Rotimi Jacobs, had addressed the court on a motion seeking the release of the former NSA. In the motion argued by a lawyer to Dasuki, the court was urged to prohibit the federal government from further prosecuting or further seeking any indulgence from the court until Colonel Dasuki is allowed to enjoy his bail. Mr. Daudu also asked the court to discharge the former NSA of all the offences contained in the charge against his client on the ground that the federal government cannot lawfully prosecute him, having been in contempt of the court. He noted that Justice Hussein Baba Yusuf on December 18, 2015 granted bail to Colonel Dasuki, and after perfecting his bail conditions, he was recreated on the orders of the federal government and taken to the custody of the Department of State Services. He added that since his client was recreated on the 29th, immediately after perfecting his bail conditions, he has been kept away from his lawyers and family members. And the Supreme Court has affirmed the election of Udom Emmanuel as the governor of Akwa Ibom and that of Abia State, Okezi Ibazo. In the ruling on Wednesday, the court said Governor Emmanuel won the lawfully cast votes, setting aside the earlier ruling of the two lower courts. The Supreme Court also upheld Governor Emmanuel's appeal, challenging the cancellation of the results of the elections held in 13 local governments. And similarly, Justice Suleiman Kaladima, who delivered the lead judgment with respect to the Abia State governorship poll, also held that Ibazu's appeal succeeded. The Supreme Court affirmed the governor's declaration as winners of the April 11, 2015 governorship election by the Independent National Electoral Commission. And moreover, the Supreme Court has reserved till February 15 to give the reasons for its decisions with respect to the Akwa Ibom appeal, while the reasons for the Abia State governorship election has been reserved till February the 26th. And on the same vein, the national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, APC Chief John Oyegu, has called for the investigation of Supreme Court judges. Oyegu made the call against the backdrop of his party's loss of Rivers State governorship seats to the opposition party, People's Democratic Party. It will be recalled that the Supreme Court last week affirmed the election of the state governor Nyesom Wike and dismissed the petition of the APC governorship candidate, Dakuku Peter Side, who requested for cancellation of judgments of the State Election Petition Tribunal. And also, governors of the People's Democratic Party have hailed the Supreme Court for upholding the elections of all its governors, describing the court as the savior of democracy in the country. In a statement issued on Wednesday after the court upheld the elections of Governors Udom Emmanuel of Akwa Ibom and Okezi Ibazo of Abia State, the PDP's forum said the verdicts have reinforced the belief that the judiciary remains the hope of the common man. The statement signed by Osaro Onaiwu, coordinator of the forum, stated that what the Apex Court has done was to save the country from being balkanized by APC in its avowal to undermine the integrity of the court and jettison the sacredness of the ballot box. Mr. Onaiwu said the PDP would continue to work to strengthen the country's legal process as well as democratic norms. And the former secretary to the government of the Federation, Olufalaye, has predicted things would soon fall apart for the members of the ruling APC. Mr. Falaye, who is the national chairman of the Social Democratic Party, mocked the APC for branding itself as mega party, but said the party was likely to totally collapse soon. Mr. Falaye spoke at the SDP Secretariat in Akure, capital of Ondo State, while welcoming Olu Ogunloye, a former member of the People's Democratic Party and close ally of Governor Olusegun Mimiko of Ondo State, who defected to the Social Democratic Party. Mr. Ogunloye, a former Minister of Power and Steel, as well as SY Minister of Defense, had quietly defected from the PDP to SDP last weekend in Akure. And the former Delta State Governor James Ibori has been reportedly re-arrested in the United Kingdom after initially regaining freedom from a Lebanon prison. The ex-governor, who seemingly completed his prison terms in the United Kingdom, backed a 13-year in April 2012 by a Saudi Crown Court in London and was released by prison authorities on January 22, 2016. He finished his prison term at Her Majesty's prison in Bedford outside of London after initially being held at the Long Latin prison, Worcestershire. A prison source at Bedford who confirmed the incident said Mr. Ibori's known destination is yet to be confirmed. And the former Minister of Petroleum Resources, Mrs. Tiziani Alison Madueke, has dismissed rumors that her sister has kids for former President Goodluck Jonathan. This came against the backdrop of stories making the rounds about her relationship with the former president, which never went down well with former First Lady Dame Patience Jonathan. She strongly noted she had no such sister. Mrs. Madueke said this in London while responding to questions in an interview with the CEO of Ovation magazine, Mr. Delem Modu, in London. While wondering how people could fabricate such blatant lies, she reiterated she has a good relationship with the former First Lady, noting they had been family friends for a long time. And the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has discovered 17.5 billion naira in the accounts of wives of 3 Air Force chiefs. Sources under condition of anonymity also revealed that the monies were scattered in various banks' accounts. It was learned that a huge amount of money has also been traced to the accounts of children of some indicted 7 and retired military officers. A source familiar with the investigation told journalists that 13 billion naira was traced to the bank's accounts of a wife of a retired Air Vice Marshal who held a strategic position in the Nigerian Air Force. In the bank accounts of another wife of a retired service chief, 3 billion naira was found, while 1.5 billion naira was found in the bank accounts of a wife of a serving senior officer. And now on the foreign scene, South Africa's President Jacob Zuma has agreed to repay some of the $23 million the government controversially spent on upgrading his private rural home. In 2014, a report by the public prosecutor said Mr. Zuma had benefited unduly from the upgrades. Mr. Zuma said the Auditor General and Finance Minister should determine how much he should repay to end the dispute. The announcement comes a week before a constitutional hearing on the matter. The refurbishment of the residence in the village of Nkandla in Mr. Zuma's home province of KwaZulu-Natal has turned into a major political controversy in South Africa. Some of the money was spent on building an amphitheater, swimming pool and cattle enclosure. The opposition Democratic Alliance and Julius Malema's economic freedom fighters, who have called for a corruption investigation, say they are pressing ahead with their court case, regardless of the president's latest offer. And these are the stories coming this evening from African Free Press Television. For more, please do log on to our website at www.africanfreepress.com. Follow us on Twitter at African Free Press. Like our Facebook page at africanfreepress.com. Join us in our discussions on various interesting topics at African Free Press Forum and subscribe to our YouTube channel at African Free Press. I am Leo Oketa. Good night.